All right, well, good morning and welcome to another adventure. Today I am at the White Clay Creek Preserve here in the very far southeastern corner of Pennsylvania. I have a special guest with me today. I have Skye Marthaler from Rooftops of America will be hiking with me. He can say a brief hello.
Hey everybody, glad to be here today.
And we're gonna, I'll give you a brief history of this area, this fascinating history here. Skye can go into more of that when we get closer, but it's a beautiful fall day out, so let's get hiking. Traveling around and come with me. All right, so we're heading, our first location today will be at the tripoint, where Pennsylvania, Maryland, and Delaware meet, and there is a lot of history where we're going. So once we get there, Skye will tell you a little bit about the history. If you want the more in-depth view, I'll leave the link to his Delaware high point video, and you can check that out for a more thorough history of this area. It's very, very fascinating. I've just been enjoying this nice walk in the woods, but here's a little hint of fall. This is the first, well, almost the second week of September, so fall is right around the corner, and it is an absolutely gorgeous day to hike. So we're continuing on our way up to the tripoint, and then we'll give you a little history once we get there. We are here at the tripoint. This is where Maryland, Pennsylvania, and Delaware intersect. Beautiful little area here by the creek. All right, so this is the tripoint. Here is the actual survey marker. But one thing you will notice, and Skye can go into more of this, is there is no marker where I'm marking Delaware. You have Pennsylvania and you have Maryland, but no Delaware. So, Skye, a brief history on why that is.
This is actually a historical artifact in addition to being a tripoint. It's remnant of when there was still a border conflict between Pennsylvania and Delaware over a piece of land called the Wedge. And so this is one artifact We're going to head to the second one, the Arc Corner, which is one of the other boundaries of this contested land. And I've always thought this is really cool that you can come out here and you'll see it, and it's like, right, Pennsylvania, Maryland, like, it doesn't make sense. Like, where's Delaware? And it's because they were still fighting over the land.
So this is also where, Skye was telling me, this is also where the Mason-Dixon line heads west.
Correct. Yep,
yes.
It goes to the west.
And he was saying that that they fell, when Mason-Dixon was surveying this area, they fell about 30 miles short of the straight line. And this whole area has a lot of border disputes. And I'll leave the link to Skye's video on that down below. If you want a more detailed look at that, you can watch his video. But it's a fascinating area here. So we are going to hang out here for a little bit, and then we'll move on to our next fascinating area of geography here. So this is you see the triangulation disc on the survey. This is the actual benchmark that marks the tripoint. Pretty cool. All right, so Skye and I are going to head farther down the path here. And we're going to check out what's called the Arc Monument. And we'll give you a little history of that when we get there. So I mentioned the tripoint on Mason-Dixon trail. So if you can imagine Mason-Dixon walking through these woods, dragging all their equipment through and get as accurate measures as they could. It's pretty remarkable that they got as close as they did. Because we're on the path, which is clear, but they didn't have this back then, so they would be just dragging everything through the brush and over the hills. I mean, it's flat, but it's not flat. So there is some hills and drop-offs here, so wouldn't be the easiest terrain to bushwhack through. That's for sure. Absolutely outstanding. All right, so here's another cool geographical feature. The geography nerd in me loves this, because this is the state line here. So we left Pennsylvania, and we're now crossing into Delaware, and this marks the site of the line. And yeah, that's pretty cool. So you can kind of see down that way, and that's the view of the state line down that way. All right, onward and upward. We're coming up on our second big geographical feature today. This is what's called the Arc Corner Monument. And if you're familiar with the geography of Pennsylvania and Delaware, so Pennsylvania is flat, and then all of a sudden Delaware has like an arc that goes around. And Skye will tell you a little bit more about that, about why this is here and some of the history.
So what's really cool about Delaware, it's the only state that has that rounded border. This right here is where that rounded border starts. You can see the two lines on top where the border goes. But what that art created was a thing called the wedge, and the wedge was contested land for a long time. It became sort of a no man's land. A lot of crazy things were happening there, and eventually, though, Pennsylvania and Delaware and Maryland ended up sorting out who controlled the wedge, and it all ended up for Delaware. So this is just another cool historical artifact.
And I'll leave and if you want more history on that, I will leave the link to Skye's awesome Delaware video down below, and you can check out. He goes into more in depth on the history and geography of how this came to be. So I'll leave the video below. You can check it out if you're curious about a little bit more. All right, and this is the actual border of Delaware. So you can picture Delaware, Pennsylvania coming here, and then Delaware shoots right up, and then that's where the arc starts. So that is, not gonna lie, the geography nerd in me thinks that's pretty cool. All right, so thanks to Skye Marthaler for coming out today.
Thanks for having me, Ron. I really appreciate it.
We had learned some great history about this little area. So I'm actually headed to Ebright Azimuth, which is Delaware's highest point. I'm going to leave the link to Skye's awesome episode down below. You can check that out, and along with other history. Skye, it's been great. Thanks.
It's been a genuine pleasure, Ron. I really appreciate it. And folks, I've told Ron this a million times, and he's probably going to tell you it. But if you're going to Ebright Azimuth, take some time, come here too.
Yes, definitely. This is definitely a nice little side to Ebright Azimuth, and as you'll see, there's not much at Ebright Azimuth, but this is a great supplement to that. So, Skye, I'll see you later.
Happy trails, Ron.
And
I'll
see you, and I'll actually end this video down at the high point. So, all right. Well, we made it to the Delaware high point, Ebright Azimuth. I will show you this in a second here. I've been here before. But I wanted to document for YouTube, so be prepared to be wowed. This is something unlike you've ever seen before, and I did bring my O2. So let's go check this out. All right, we arrived Ebright Azimuth. This is the highest benchmark in Delaware. It is a whopping 447 feet. I believe this was like my 11th or 12th high point. I'll leave it down below. So I've done this before, but it's right here. It's on a residential street. I believe the Pennsylvania border is right up this way too. All right, so here's one of the benchmarks here. Ebright Azimuth as a high point of Delaware. Again, this is just down the road from the sign. Sign's right there with the trees. So there's one of the benchmarks. The other one I believe is in the mobile home park. There's a few around here, but we won't get to that today. Alright, so quick little joint here to the highest point in Delaware. Again, this is a repeat, so it's not a new one, but I just wanted to show this real quick. Thanks for coming along to the adventure. Again, special thanks to Skye Marthaler for joining me today on hiking. We learned a lot of history and geography about this area. I'll leave the link to his channel down below and his fantastic video on this high point where he goes into a lot more history on this. So here from Ebright Azimuth, highest point in the state of Delaware. Thanks for coming along, and we'll see you in the next adventure.